Good day, fellow peasants! I hope everyone is doing well and surviving and thriving in our feudal society. Today I want to talk about something that you are probably either going to love or hate, and that is law enforcement, or as I like to call them, the King's Guard or the Royal Guard. But before we begin, I want to get some things out of the way right off the bat. This is in no way to be taken as legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, and before you decide to do anything, you should consult a professional. Also, though it sounds like I'm painting police with a broad brush, which I kind of am, I understand that there are good cops out there who maintain their constitutional oaths and that the general intent of law enforcement is to do good for the community. So let's get to it. As citizens of the sovereign realm, we are afforded the benefit of having a King's Guard charged with upholding the Constitution and the law. As peasants of the kingdom, we are obligated to support the King's Guard in the form of taxation, property taxes, sales taxes, and various other taxes. In return, the peasantry is assured the protection of their rights. The guard stops the bad guys, tickets or arrests motorists traveling to local taverns, workplaces, and businesses at dangerous speeds, and apprehends thieves trying to steal your gold and your goat. On paper, this is the intention of the relationship between the peasantry and the guard, but I'm here to tell you today that dynamic has been twisted and mutated into something different. On the surface, we see the same old institution, but a closer look shows us that underneath it all, it is not the same. To put it simply, while the idea is to protect and serve, the guard now has a secondary motive, and that is to make money. They tell you that they have no quota, in air quotes, for handing out tickets, but they are incentivized to hand out tickets for two reasons. The first one is they don't want to lose their jobs. Now you may be thinking, wait, what the fuck? If people aren't breaking the law, why would they need to hand out tickets? The answer is because if they aren't handing out enough tickets, I put those in air quotes too, which is subjective and varies from station to station, I would assume, then they aren't doing their jobs. So now they have the incentive to make a much greater effort to seek out lawbreakers, which I will touch on a little later. The second reason is to make more money for the local government. How is that? The more tickets they hand out, the more money they make because the local government gives them a larger budget in which they raise their salaries. So what it boils down to is the size of the budget for the local government. More tickets equals more money. You give out a ticket, money goes to the local government has bigger budget, and then they give the police station a bigger budget too. Now, going back to seeking out lawbreakers. Imagine this, and I know I'm painting probably the perfect scenario, but this is just a general idea, and this does happen. So imagine this, it's a relatively slow day and criminal activity seems pretty low. But you want to pump them numbers up, so you gotta find a way to nail someone. There's hardly any traffic, and you see a guy make a turn without engaging his turn signal 100 feet prior to making the turn. Perfect. Now, if you really wanted to be an asshole, you can pull him over and give him a ticket if the conditions are right. But the real reason you pulled that guy over is to check for warrants. Bingo! If you can arrest someone with a warrant, you get a bad guy off the street, and you pump them numbers up. But here's the point. It was never about getting a bad guy off the street. It was about making money for the department. Maybe there were no warrants. He can still give out a ticket and mission accomplished. There are a plethora of bullshit, ridiculous laws out there specifically made for that purpose. And let's be honest, there are plenty of times where guard intervention is unnecessary, even if the activity is, quote, illegal. You're going to work and get ticketed for having a slightly too dark of a tint on your windows. How is that service? Who was protected in this situation? More than likely, it was just a normal law-abiding peasant, but that is how they use the law to oppress the masses. The next thing we're going to discuss is how they trample your rights. Most of the guard are there for a paycheck, though they may have some misguided notion of I'm doing good I'm doing this to help people. Ultimately, it doesn't really work like that. You can peacefully protest in public forum, but get arrested because someone's feces got hurt, someone gets offended, or they use some legal loophole to remove you. They will unlawfully demand identification, which in most cases you don't have to provide unless they suspect you of committing or about to commit a crime. Even then, they have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion that you are. Now remember, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Do your research. They will bully you, they will harass you, they will detain you, possibly put hands on you, and even make up some bullshit just to get that ID. Because remember, they are praying you are a criminal. And even if you aren't, they try to make you one. They wave around their cudgel of authority like a 5-year-old who found his dad's gun. Even in our modern feudal society, the peasants have rights. and the guard will trample them and oppress you as such. They will press as much as they can, unless they will oppress you as much as you can, unless you know them. Sorry, my words are fucking hard today. But remember, even if you are doing everything right, asserting your rights peacefully, the guard can and will find ways to make you a criminal. Now remember, whenever they're reading your rights and all that jazz, anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. It doesn't say for you. They're not there for you. Just remember that. And as we all know, even when the guard is caught illegally oppressing the peasantry, the penalties are usually very mild or non-existent because of the protection they get from the police union cartel, the police gang. To wrap this up, we all know that there are a lot of good people out there serving in the guard. We also know that there are a lot of bad ones. But it's not particularly the people that are the biggest problem. It is the system that is created and fosters this dynamic. It's the whole institution in general. They oppress the peasantry to make money for the system, for the nobility, for the king, under the guise of protecting and serving. Obviously, I'm not saying that they never actually do any good. Any good. Of course, they remove dangerous, evil people from the streets, and I would not hesitate to call the guard if the situation demanded it. They do help people. But the point of this video is to just give you a broad understanding of what the system has become, how it operates, how it is maintained, and why it needs to be reformed. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you peasants later.